8th day. Is it July 8th?
It is July 8th.
July 8th. Happy birthday to America 4 days ago.
America.
249. We are now at the beginning of the 250th year.
It's going to be epic.
How about the FCC? I think the fight, the FCC fight.
UFC for
UFC. It's close enough.
How much do you think a ticket's going to cost for that?
Oh, it's going to be now, Pappas. If you really have any yank at all, I want
a ton of yank.
I want you to get me into that fight on the grounds of the White House. That is my challenge to you.
Pappas isn't allowed within fucking 200 yards of the White House or a school. So.
I didn't say I wanted him to come with me. I said he's got to get me in there.
I'll start working on it. I mean, seriously, I'll work on it.
Well, I'm telling you, I will be there. It doesn't matter what it takes. I will be there.
That sounds awesome.
I've been going to UFC's live since 1998.
That is a bold statement.
I'm going to be. I'm telling you, I'm going to be there.
How tight is that ticket going to be? How tight is that ticket going to be to get there to that UFC fight on the where's it going to be, on the west lawn, the front lawn,
pick a lawn?
Where are they going to do it? It's going to be outside, right?
Well, according to Trump, there's plenty of room, and they're going to have 20. They're going to have 20 to 25,000 people on that fucking piece of property.
Well, I'll tell you this: I'm going to New Orleans next weekend for the fight in New Orleans, and nosebleed. I paid $600 a ticket, so you can imagine what the fuck.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but I don't think these are going to be for sale. I think you're going to have to definitely know somebody that knows somebody to know somebody.
I would just like to know if you had to put a price tag on it, what that would be. But hey, how was your guys' 4th? This is our first time back since before the 4th of July. How was it?
Mine was great, man. It was good. Yeah, it was really good here. My wife had some friends here, one from Alaska, one from Mississippi, and one from Washington State, friends she went to the National Academy with. So it was really nice.
You guys are covering the whole goddamn country.
Yeah, we got from north to south covered here. You're roasting your.
That's how we do.
No lie, brother. You're roasting your nads off down in South Louisiana, and I'm over here up in the great auspices of northern Michigan, just within eyeshot of the Canadian border, making sure that no Canadians come sneaking into our country.
You're doing the Lord's work, sir.
Yeah.
I was on maritime patrol today, making sure we didn't have anyone. Making sure nobody strapped together a couple of maple syrup barrels and tried to float across the Great Lakes.
Protecting our waterways.
No lie, brother.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
I'm going to go back on Amazon Prime here for a little bit. Keep talking.
So obviously we've got a ton to cover, but I think predominantly most of this is going to be, the unfortunate, flooding of Texas.
Well, before we get away from July the 4th,
okay, all right.
I think we can all agree that our July 4th was probably better than the one they had in Philadelphia.
Oh,
shall we look in?
Yeah, you're right.
Shall we look on a random Ring doorbell camera from the city of brotherly love? I think they call it
brotherly love. Because this sure looked like brotherly love. That is facts.
Here we go. Let's roll the video. Look at this dude.
This one right by the fucking
what
ring.
What the hell is he doing?
I mean, I've heard of fireworks.
I mean,
those are definitely fireworks.
He had really good. He had great weapon control there.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of firearms training in my life, and he didn't go to the same classes I went to.
No, he did not.
No, absolutely not.
Let me ask you. Let me point out something about that. How long? Now, James, you got to bear with us here for a second because we're going to talk local. City of Cincinnati. Every night it seems like there's a story about a shooting that breaks downtown Cincinnati. I don't think there's been a night this last week there hasn't been at least one shooting downtown. So how long? And correct me if I'm wrong. Philadelphia, I'm fairly certain that's been generationally a Democrat-controlled city. And Cincinnati's heading that way. We're definitely now Democrat-controlled for quite a while. Do you think there's any coincidence that these Democrat cities seem to have a problem with law and order and enforcing, civil disobedience and just wanton crime and rampant mayhem? I don't think there is.
It's always that way.
Go ahead, Keith. You want to comment on that? You're a lot closer to that than I am.
No, I mean, I think it's
you're on the perimeter of that. Let's say
the perimeter. Yeah. That is correct. No, I mean, Andrew's right. Every night we're seeing something, or you wake up the next morning and you are seeing some type of news article, whether it's 2 people shot, 1 person shot, shots fired. It may not even be somebody shot, but shots fired. And we have so many, what they call them, shot spotter cameras or sensors, whatever they are, to where they can pinpoint where these shots are going off at. But yeah, they're going off like fucking crazy. Nobody wants to go to downtown Cincinnati anymore. Nobody
that wants to be safe.
Correct.
Yet we're spending, and this isn't just Cincinnati. Well, this isn't just Cincinnati, yet we're spending how many trillions, not millions, trillions of federal resource dollars, under the auspices of rebuilding the downtowns and bringing the unwashed hordes from the suburbs that dare to try to live in safety and for their families, bring them back down. So we're subsidizing stadiums. We're subsidizing sports teams. Yet what we're not doing is we're not prioritizing, at least the administrations in these cities don't seem to be prioritizing police and law and order and proactive policing. But, they're trying to go about things backwards. If we build it, they will come. Well, here's what I find. If you shoot them, they will not come. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we have an election coming up this year in Cincinnati where there's going to be a choice. Do we vote for the status quo, which is a Democrat, very, very, picturesque person that looks good in front of the camera, actually can speak well, although he doesn't have much of substance to say, or we have a Republican who is a pastor. He's actually the half brother of our vice president, who's talking about prioritizing law and order. And not even have you even seen AFTAB walk a neighborhood?
No, absolutely not.
No,
but
he did do one. He was at the
Gay Pride Parade.
The Gay Pride Parade.
Yeah, that's not walking.
I'm going to be fair. He was out amongst the peeps, but not amongst the peeps.
Well, he was at whatever anti-Trump demonstration is going on. You can find him there as well.
Correct.
But but Cincinnati, Andrew, we can all hang our hat on the Act for Cincinnati, a comprehensive plan to combat violence at its root causes.
The root causes. I love that word.
Just some of the things they want to do. They want to create thriving neighborhoods, and they want to address issues like poverty, limited employment opportunities, a lack of access to mental health. This is excuse making at its finest. Instead of actually addressing, they've got 5 bullet points here, and there's only one. What they call it, evidence-based policing innovations. So, we used to do something here in Cincinnati called proactive policing.
Bingo.
And proactive policing was extremely effective because there were police on a regular beat. They knew who the good guys were. They knew who the bad guys were. And when the bad guys were up to something, there were some good guys who were dropping dime on them. And so police were able to act on that and stop violence before what? Before it happens.
Before it happens. Weird.
Yeah. But then, what do they call it? They call it profiling. Wow.
Profiling, racism.
Yeah. So we can't have that. So we have to pretend that we have to do all these other things in order to combat violence. And guess what? It ain't worth a damn. None of that shit is worth a damn. The only thing that works is good old-fashioned police work and stopping the violence. If you know something's going to happen, then you have to act on it. But we have put ourselves in a position where we don't allow our local police to act on it in a way that is meaningful at all.
So not only that, we don't support, and you're exactly right. Not only that, in these Democrat cities that have these, let's reimagine. I remember a certain vice president at the time that was going to get to remember the term root causes of illegal immigration? I believe Kamala went down to Central America to find the root causes of illegal immigration that couldn't be stopped.
You just made James grow hair.
Well, but I mean, but my point is, they use words like root causes. I've got a root cause for you. Not supporting your police, making your police scared or at least have to second guess themselves when they do their jobs.
Afraid
to do their jobs. Supporting judges that are absolutely and positively diametrically opposed to public safety and only look at the criminals as the victims and not the victims as the victims. So, we mention the judge Silverstein here in Cincinnati that has OR bonds and lets criminals out because it's not fair that we have high dollar bonds to keep them in jail. Need I also remind you that since I've been in Cincinnati, we've built, we built a baseball stadium. We've built a football stadium. We've built a soccer stadium. You know what we haven't built? Anyone want to guess?
Jail?
Bingo. Jail. We have not expanded the jail.
We've gotten rid of 1.5 that I know of.
Correct.
And the one that we have now is busting at the seams.
Yeah. Yet we're going to sit there and say to the general public, come downtown. Look at all the money we're spending to bring you downtown. Look at these shiny stadiums. You might get killed on the way out or in, but hey, once you're in, you'll have a good time. And don't even think
you love.
And don't even think of bringing a gun to protect yourself because, hey, listen, we're going to make sure you cannot come in here with that, which I don't have a problem with. That's probably smart. I actually really don't have a problem with that. But on the outside, I mean, maybe we should do some sort of, I think I have a business opportunity here. We could do some sort of rental locker where you can park your gun in the locker while you go and watch the football game or baseball game, come out and retrieve your weapon. I'll just charge you $20 to hold it for a couple hours. What do you think of that?
Well, that's like going to a Dave Chappelle show up in Yellow Springs. They have those yonder bags where you put your phone in and they lock it up. You can carry it with you. You just can't use it. So yeah, that's fine.
I just don't understand. You showed the video from Philadelphia, and that's how I'm tying it back. But we need to make the connection. Everybody seems to be like, oh my God, what can we do about crime? You know what we could do about crime? Elect somebody that's going to support the police, that's going to let the police know we have your back. We want you to be proactive. There's an old theory called the broken window theory. Remember that one?
Oh, I'm big on that one. I have been preaching that for many, many years. It works. And let me tell you, they keep talking about root cause and all this other stuff they want to come up with. Well, what they're ignoring, Pappas, is, and it's just not Cincinnati. Cincinnati is an example, but it's every liberal ran city. Mm-hmm. So what they have done, successfully done, is gone away from the one concept that has proven to work. There's a concept that has proven to work, and it's called law and order. And we stopped law and order because criminals and people who support criminals didn't like it. So now we got to come up with these other things. What we need to do is go back to broken windows concept. Absolutely works. It makes sense. And it's a concept that was proven in New York, of all places, that was
the basis of what Rudy Giuliani had in New York. Yeah.
And that's why he was credited with reducing violent crimes, because you pay attention to those things. I'm sick of hearing, how things are minor, cops are pulling, stopping people from minor things. Well, it's proven, that's the problem. It's proven that when you have that kind of policing, that kind of base policing, it fucking works. So what we need to do is throw it away, then start thinking about other things, because it's all about somebody else can get rich. You start talking about mental health. It's just doesn't make sense. Law and order makes sense, and it works. So
I'm just a dumb fireman, James. I'm just a dumb fireman, but
you are.
When you are, I get it. I get it from you and Tommy all the time. I understand. But I understand the fact that proactive policing and let the cops do their job and beat the streets, pull the cars over. You find shit. That's where you find if you don't do anything, guess what? You're not getting any of the drugs off the street. You're not getting any of the weapons off the street. You have to let them do their job and let them be cops versus making them be afraid to be cops.
Well, look what's going on right now with immigration, with ICE. You know, I don't know if I said it on this show before, but I know I said it on mine. When the big thing about the legislation, we don't need any more fucking laws. We have more laws in this fucking country than we even, as a law enforcement officer, I don't even know all the laws. We don't need any more laws. You know what we need to do is let people enforce the laws that we have. And you start talking about gun laws and all these, we don't need any gun laws. The problem with guns is illegally obtained weapons. And there's already laws on that. So get the legislators out of it and give it back to the fucking policemen like they gave it. Look what happened when they let ICE do their job.
Yeah.
What happened? Did they create any laws, Dan? No, they didn't create any fucking laws. They didn't need to. They had the laws on the books that these other administrations were not letting them follow.
Well, that's what makes Democrats look so weak and ineffective, because Trump was saying the whole time, he said we don't need Congress to act. We don't need, all this comprehensive reform and all this other mumbo jumbo. He said what we need is a president who will take matters into his own hands and use the laws that he already has available to him. And now you've got ICE agents in 2 separate ambush attacks in Texas, for God's sake.
Which I think,
and then you had ICE agents who were at a park in Los Angeles, a park that's well known for drug dealers and fentanyl and illegals hanging out there. And then you got ICE staging a massive raid, and the mayor goes to the scene and says, "Oh, they need to leave. We need to get, ICE needs to get out of here." And now you've got all these Democrat representatives who are reporting that Axios is the one that had the story. They're talking about all their constituents are saying that we need to see some blood. We're tired of all this. Trump's only been in office for what, 6 months now? 6 months, 7 months. And now they're saying to their Democrat representatives that they want action, and if violence is necessary, to take that next step.
Let me talk about that for a second. The reason this is coming from the Democrat Party is because early on, and I can remember when, and maybe you guys remember when, they took as part of their base, part of their one of the legs of the stools that hold that disgusting organization aloft. They took the radicals and they took the people, the anarchists. Remember the presidential, I don't remember what election it was. Was it Obama? I can't remember. It might have been Clinton. And Michael Moore was in the presidential booth. Now, at the time, Michael Moore, that rotund piece of garbage, all he did, he's an anarchist. He's a socialist. He likes to stir, but back in those days, he was making movies a lot more than he is now. And that began to normalize the radicals in the Democrat Party. And so now what you're seeing, Dan, is the base that you just reported, the Democrats, that rather than, for example, whenever Republicans or conservatives have an election or something that happens, like when Biden was in office or Clinton was in office, what do we say? We say, you know what, we're going to wait 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, whenever the next election cycle is. What the hell was that?
I just turned the lights down.
We're going to,
We're a little mood lighting going on here.
My point is,
I'm going on over there.
this violence, this call for violence from the left is going to bite the Democrats first harder than it bites Republicans. Yeah. And if they are not radical enough for the base that they've emboldened all these years, that base is going to turn on the very Democrats that they're complaining about or to. And it's their own fault. Karma's a bitch. And I tell you what, talk like that is not only dangerous, it's subversive. And I think that something should be done about it, because I can honestly tell you one thing, and James, you correct me on this. Between the two political divides that we have in this country, one side seems to be much better and more comfortably armed than the other side. And I don't think that you want to have some sort of armed altercation with a group of people that are thoroughly comfortable, thoroughly adept, and thoroughly trained in using weapons, unlike the gentleman in the video that was just spraying and praying.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when you were talking, Pappas. They talk all this shit. They know, and we know, they don't want that fight. You know, they're you got, you know, like I said last time I was here, I'm from Wish a Motherfucker Wood, Louisiana. I promise you, they're not coming over here. And look, y'all live in Cincinnati, but the suburbs and stuff that y'all live in, they're not winning that fight. They don't want that fight. That's just propaganda that ass clowns like Karen Bass preach. But they know they don't want that fight. You got people that are ready for that fight or praying for that fight. They don't want that fight.
Now,
Right.
two of the people that attacked the ICE agents, and Jason, I think I sent you the picture. I don't know if you got it. Did
No,
you
I
see
got it.
people?
I got. We've completely derailed.
Why don't you show the picture of the two people that happen to be transgenders that attacked? Yeah, wait, Dan, you got to get a load of this one.
Actually, one
And-
of these is Pappas' ex-girlfriend, but
So
No shortage out
I want you to read the story, though. Here's the deal. They were arrested. Two of these people, they're both transgender, but the state of Texas is going to try them as men, and because they are, and they're going to put them in a male prison. Well,
so
my point is
this came from what Terrence K. Williams
correct.
arrested two of the identified leftists who attempted to murder ICE agents in Alvarado, Texas, are Bradford Morris and Cameron Arnold, men pretending to be women who will be sent to an all-male prison when convicted.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is that really a punishment for those two? I mean, I'm not sure how this is going to work out because they might be the most popular people in prison.
Do they want it in the B or do they want it in the V? and where are they at? I mean, where are they at?
They go get all the cigarettes and zuzus that they want.
Well, they're going to get it straight up in their mouth. I promise you.
Yeah.
Well,
I promise you that.
I mean, this just shows how far the left has just come. I mean, we're not even addressing the flooding in Texas and the disgusting remarks that have been made. We got a whole show. We got the rest of the show on this. But I mean, you know, listen, when I saw obviously the tragedy, first of all, and we probably should have started with this, but the tragedy in Texas.
It's what I tried to start with, and you motherfuckers derail it every time.
I know, but here's the deal.
I come up with a plan, James, and it gets fucked. But you know what? We have fun, so it doesn't.
It's fun though. I enjoy it.
Here's the deal. The tragedy in Texas is the quintessential definition of the word tragedy. Those poor young girls that were, you know, drowned, washed away. You can't even begin to fathom that. The pain their family feels, my heart bleeds for them. I hope everybody goes and supports an entity or an organization that is sending help. Personally, I like Matthew 25, a legitimate one. Matthew 25 Ministries is headed there. I think they're a great local organization, but you choose your own. Just make sure you do your homework. Don't get ripped off. But my point is, then I see these comments coming out from people on the left, bringing politics into this. And there was a pediatrician of all things in Houston, Texas, that said something to the effect of, well, I hope everybody, you know, something along the lines of, well, only the MAGA people, hopefully only the MAGA people were affected, the MAGA children or something like that. I'm like, what kind of monster thinks this way? I mean, I got to be this
fired for disturbing posts politicizing Texas flood over county voting for Trump. So that's a picture of that dumb bitch.
Now she's lost her job, and I hope she never gets another job.
May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts.
First of all,
there is a special place in hell for this fucking dumb bitch.
A pediatrician, which to tell Dan, that means a doctor that works on children, since Dan didn't know what that, not feet, children. But I mean, my point is that is
podiatrist, by the way.
Very close. My point is that when did it become the left now is so radical that a natural disaster that affects everybody equally. Natural disasters doesn't know who voted for whom. But the left is like politicizing everything. And as far as climate change goes, I'd like to point out to these people, this is an area of the country I'm fairly familiar with. I've been there many, many times. There's washouts like these dry river basins that exist because of flash floods that occur cyclically. And it seems to be about every 20 or so years, we get a large flood like this.
Oh.
And as evidence of that,
can I play something real quick?
That's exactly what I want you to play. I'm trying to get back on track.
You're doing a great job. Great job.
And I'm remote. This is amazing.
We like it when you're remote.
I saw Janice Dean on Fox News, a respected meteorologist that she is. She said this area is referred to as Flash Flood Alley.
Yeah.
So it's not as if this is totally unexpected.
And they call it a flash flood for a reason. Yeah.
1987. The small town of Comfort, Texas, became the scene of a heroic rescue and tragic loss. Much of the footage you will see was taped on that day by the banks of the Guadalupe River. It was the day they were supposed to go home. The more than 300 children at the church camp were awakened early.
The river
was flooded. If they didn't leave soon, their buses might not be able to leave at all.
They come in there rushing us up and everything. Telling us get up, get packed and all this stuff. And everybody was asking why. They said, we got to get out of here because the river was flowing over.
We started going around the corner. We would go down the hill, then water started coming in the bus and stuff. We tried to back up, but then the bus got stuck, so they made all of us get out of the bus.
And that's whenever the first wave hit us and started scattering people to different trees.
Kids clinging onto the trees like ants, surrounded by rushing water.
Chris Ray was the first to be rescued.
How many are there of you? How many? In the bus? Well, the bus. We all got the bus. Where the bus started going down.
As news bulletins spread the word of the flood and accidents, more help arrived. But many parents feared the worst.
I know for me that it was like you've got two daughters down there. Now, obviously, they both are not going to make it. You know, which one would you choose? Which one would you have come back?
I mean, it seemed like every tree had a facial to it.
So, I mean, I'm not going to play all
1987.
1987. I'm not going to play all 3 minutes of it, but hey, who didn't love Rescue 911 back in the day? William Shatner. But this has happened, and it's happened before, even after 1987. But I saw this, and talking with friends of mine that live in Texas as well, they're like, we know that that's a possibility. Now, with what happened and with how fast it happened, it's now being politicized in the fact that, oh, well, Trump, cut all these federal funds and the National Weather Service didn't have all the shit. That's bullshit because
not true. None of that is true. Warnings were issued.
Warnings were issued multiple times.
And the forecast nailed it on the head. The forecast called for that amount of rain. They just didn't know the flash floods were going to occur. So my point is, this has been, when did it become normal that we politicize? Now, don't get me wrong. This is a man-made trade. If there's a hurricane, a tornado, whatever, I mean, why is it okay to politicize just because you hate Trump? I don't understand this. James, help me out here. I don't understand this.
I'm with you. I'm sick over this. It is unbelievable that a group of people think it's okay, who is supposed to be the group of inclusion and equity and love and joy and all this other shit. And they do things like this doctor just did. And they try to politicize it. We all complain about, well, I guess those of us who pay taxes complain about taxes. And they go in, and first thing Trump does is starts trying to streamline. Cutting services is totally different than cutting spending. They're not cutting services. every department is cutting wasteful spending, which we want them to do. They're not cutting services and they're not cutting technology that predicts weather. That's all bullshit. And anybody that believes anything that these fucking morons say is you can't, there's nothing any of us can say to convince them. That's just who they are. And I try not to worry myself with them. They absolutely will drive me insane if I let them, because I can't believe anybody's that fucking stupid.
Well, did you know that the individuals who work for the National Weather Service have their own union? And so today, CBS News, it wasn't today, it was yesterday, as a matter of fact. CBS News had on a representative of that union. Thinking what do you think CBS News would possibly be thinking? They're saying, look, we've got a union representative from the National Weather Service. Unions typically hate conservative Republicans.
Correct.
This guy is going to bash Trump. So they brought on Tom Fahey, who is the legislative director for the National Weather Service Employees Organization. And here's what he said when he was talking to CBS News. He said, the forecasters did their job. There are very few times when I will be in a position that I have to agree with the President of the United States. When he spoke last night that the forecasters at the National Weather Service offices in San Antonio and San Angelo and San Antonio, they got the forecast right. They did their job. Mm-hmm. I saw one timeline from the forecast stations, 3:38. That's only a 20 or 22 minute difference from 4 a.m. But in this case, minutes count. Forecasters immediately saw what they had to do, and they issued a catastrophic alert. And he goes on and on and on. This is the head of the union. And look, union representatives are free to speak the truth, free to speak their mind. And of course, they're many times politically oriented. And this guy from the union, Pappas, is coming out and saying that, hey, I agree with what Trump said. We had the staffing. We did our jobs. The warnings went out.
They did.
You can cry and complain all you want about Trump trying to streamline government, right-size government. There were a number of individuals from the National Weather Service who took the early buyout, just like all federal employees were offered, to get rid of a lot of the fraud, waste, and abuse, and the bloatedness of a lot of these organizations. But the forecasters were there. The warnings went out, and I don't care if they went out at 3:30 in the morning. There are people whose job it is on a local level to monitor those warnings, to know what they mean, and to act on those warnings.
And that's all you can do.
Somewhere in there, I think the ball might have been dropped a little bit.
Whether it came out at 3 a.m. or at 7 p.m., it's not the whoever's hitting the button saying, hey, we got a big fucking problem, send another warning out. It's not their problem, though. And I'm going to sound really I don't mean this to sound shitty, because I'm going to circle back on it, but they can't help the fact that people are asleep. No. They can't go to every person's house and shake them out of bed and say, hey, you got to go. Now, it's very unfortunate that we have so many lives lost and so many young lives lost in this tragedy. But guess what? When I'm driving down the fucking road and there's an Amber Alert, it hits my phone, scares the shit out of me. You have most people have cell phones. I mean, that's just it's the world we're living in. Most people have cell phones, and those Amber Alerts go out. What National Weather Service alerts go out, but they can't be expected to go shake everybody out of bed.
No, and people listen, the other thing is people turn their phones off. They put them in the kitchen. So if it's going off, you're not going to hear it. And that story was from 1987. That was 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And but if you look at the timeline before that, it happens about every 20 or so years. It seems like there's a large flood event.
It was July 17th in 87 when it hit.
Correct. And so
it did it one more time, and I had that date
the
in
people,
between
the,
then and now.
the sick part I find is that the left has not only politicized it, but they've also, there's been a lot of reports how it's broken on, some people just horribly racist, don't really give a crap and weren't concerned because this was a predominantly white Christian girls camp, and they didn't really care because it wasn't.
Hold on, I got one.
Yeah,
I got one. Hold on.
I thought you might have that one, but I just
going there yet.
And my problem.
How much it is to go to that camp?
What's that?
You know how much it is to go to that camp?
No, free.
$5,000 a kid.
Yep.
$5,000 a kid.
So that's why the liberals are like, "Hey, fuck them rich kids, rich white kids."
Let me say this though: my big problem is where are the Democrat leaders calling
where's
these
Crockett
people
shit
out?
at? That's her area.
Where's Jasmine Crockett? I mean, she could have put her eyelashes up there and blocked most of that floodwater.
That's why this doctor who's got obviously Trump derangement syndrome, if they're Christians, then they feel as if they have license to criticize all day long.
And James, I'd like to say something else.
Based
I don't know if you know this.
Earlier conversations we had on this show.
One of the first groups down there that's doing great work is the United Cajun Navy. And most people don't know that. And those are the same folks that did great work. And there's a reason it's called the Cajun Navy. Those are people from your neck of the woods. And they were up in North Carolina. And, let me tell you something else.
And by the way, North Carolina is getting hit right now. North
Carolina's getting hit again. But you didn't hear where were the leftists complaining. Remember, Joe Biden didn't send relief to North Carolina. Donald Trump hasn't drug his feet. He sent, there were helicopters there. He called us, said, "What do you need?" And boom, it happens.
Yep.
But look at this guy from the Coast Guard that himself, just one person, one rescue swimmer, rescued 165 kids.
We're getting there too. We're getting there too.
Yeah.
But these are all things that, I find it abhorrent that no Democrat leaders have come out and said, this is ridiculous. Let's not politicize this. Let's dial it back. Let's focus on the victims. What can we do to help? But no, they don't let a crisis go to waste because they are a party devoid of any character, any soul, and any emotions.
The agenda trumps everything. Just remember that. I've said it many times.
Good statement.
I got to make sure the volume's up. I can't see. Oh, there it is. Sorry.
They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all white only conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right. You ain't getting in. You ain't going. Period.
Fuck you, you racist son of a bitch, is all I have to say. So you led into that, and that's perfect because when you said that, I have so many tabs open because there's so many different directions to go with this, but it's all being politicized, and then they want to turn it into a race thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nature apparently doesn't allow black kids into a camp and just takes away white kids.
I promise you,
I'm being very facetious with that. It's just like the ignorance of that post. Like why you would even hit post. Why you would do that. It's so fucking ignorant.
I promise you, if any black, Asian, Hispanic kid walked up with $5,000, they'd have been able to go to the camp too.
Yep. Sure. Absolutely.
Yep. It's a very rich camp, and people have a right to have camps like that.
Yes. So you brought up the young man who, and Scott Ruskin's his name. I think he did great. I think he's being held up because it's his first ever like mission like this.
Yeah.
But I want to throw out all the first responders, all the Coast Guard people.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that they're doing is absolutely amazing. But what a first mission. Holy shit. So I'm going to play this clip from America.
Hailed as a hero for saving 165 people in the floods at Camp Mystic. Scott Ruskin joins us now. Scott, thank you for joining us this morning. Tell us what happened.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So I'll kind of give you guys a quick synopsis of what was going on. The Coast Guard launched us and decided to send a rescue crew from Air Station Corpus Christi at about 6:30, 7 a.m. on Friday, the 4th of July. I just happened to be on the duty crew with Ian Hopper, Blair Bourgeois, Seth Reeves, some of our crew members in the Coast Guard. And yeah, they sent us out. We kind of encountered some pretty serious weather, some of the worst flying we've ever dealt with personally. It took us, which should have been an hour flight, probably took us about 7 or 8 to get into the landing zone. Once made about 4 different approaches trying to get in, we were able to get boots on the ground with the Air National Guard, Department of Public Safety for Texas, game wardens. And we decided to leave me on scene at Camp Mystic. That was kind of our main triage site we were trying to help out with. And we decided, hey, if we leave the rescue swimmer on scene, we'll have more space in our Dolphin MH-65. So based on that, I got on scene, boots on the ground at Camp Mystic. Kind of discovered I was the only person there as far as like first responders go. So yeah, I had about 200 kids mostly, all scared, terrified, cold, having probably the worst day of their life. And I just kind of needed to triage them, get them to a higher level of care. And get them off the flood zone with a lot of the US-60 Army helicopters.
Talk about how that works. You got 165, close to 200 kids there. How do you get them out? Just one by one?
What a stupid question.
Yeah, sir, it's a great question.
He said it was a great question.
Guard was landing their 60s.
How do you get them out? I mean, George Stephanopoulos is an idiot.
2 different landing zones. There's one off an archery field and then one at a soccer field. So yeah, we were able to kind of land those 60s in there. And then I was kind of the main guy as far as like grabbing people, usually like 15 to 10 kids at a time, maybe one adult with them, and bringing them over to those 60s and getting them to a different LZ that was kind of safe and had more first responders than just myself out there.
Had you ever done this before?
No, this was my first one. I haven't had any cases before. I've been a rescue swimmer for about a year, fully trained for about 6 months. So yeah, this is my first experience, but I really just kind of relied on the training we get. Coast Guard rescue swimmers get some of the highest level training in the world. So really just kind of relied on that, and that, just knowing that any of the rescue swimmers in the Coast Guard would have done the exact same, if not better than me. So
training is one thing, but this is the real deal.
Yeah, this is definitely the real deal. But I just remembered that, when I got on scene, there was, 200 kids looking to someone for some sort of comfort and safety. They don't really know what my experience is or my rank or my age. They just know, hey, this guy's a professional and he's here to help us. And I kind of had to live up to that standard. But yeah, the real heroes, I think, were the kids on the ground. Like, those guys are heroic, and they were dealing with some of the worst times of their lives, and they were staying strong, and that helped inspire me to kind of get in there and help them out.
So what they don't say in there is, out of his crew, he was the only one that was, like, I guess certified. I don't know if certification is the right certified or certification is the right term to be like a triage commander. So only one person on that ship, that helicopter or whatever, you're the guy who triages. So you get a green tag, a yellow tag, a red tag, or a black tag. Black tag is no bueno, but he's the only one that's trained to be able to just delegate. Now, obviously, he was just helping get people out. But for that being that 26-year-old's first mission, what a shitstorm to roll into.
Kid's impressive, though.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, did you notice one thing?
Right.
Did you notice something?
What's that?
He only helped those kids because he was white too. So I mean, come on. I mean, clearly. Let's bring Ray.
Are you reading Jasmine Crockett tweets again?
I just thought of something when you mentioned Jasmine. When you mentioned Jasmine Crockett shit, if we would have just taken her eyelashes and put them up in the Guadalupe River, it would have held back all of those floodwaters.
It would have been like a beaver dam. But there's Petty Officer Ruskin when he graduated. So I mean, seeing the difference when he graduated to the interview we just saw.
Good stuff, man.
But yeah, he absolutely killed it along with his team. I mean, granted, you can't do anything. You can't do anything by yourself, but
I think there's something that's being left out, and obviously the media is going to leave this out. Okay, there's no doubt that this guy's a hero. Man, my hat's off to him and this whole crew. But equally a hero are the leaders that made that decision. Because the same resources were available in North Carolina last year during the hurricanes, and they were not deployed. All those resources have always been available. But the leaders that didn't fuck around and didn't get caught up in red tape and all this bureaucracy, those are heroes. The leadership is there should be a very, it's a very, to me, and it should be evident to a lot of other people, a very distinct difference between this administration's emergency crisis leadership, which I've talked about so much, is about crisis leadership. They performed when the liberals have proven they can't. That's big.
Well, James, I know you listen to the show whenever you can, and you're a loyal listener, and wasn't sure Dan was going to be available or Andrew, and you were willing to jump up and be that guy to be the co-host. But we usually throw in a Pappas ex-girlfriend.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God, yeah, this is awesome.
So we found one.
Come on, James. I thought we were buddies, man. Now
I love you, Pappas. You know that.
Throw me under the bus.
Slightly better well known than most of them.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Like
especially the one who was playing bingo.
That's how I know Pappas.
She was very impressive.
That's how I know Pappas has all the money, though. It's because he dated her for a little bit. Here,
nice hair.
She was gay.
Texas, the flash floods in Texas, the Guadalupe River, 51 missing, 51 dead, more missing.
For everybody that can't hear that,
at a camp.
And
you know, when the president guts all of the early warning systems and the weathering forecast abilities,
not true. Not fucking
these
true.
are the results that we're going to start to see.
And she's picking her nose
on a daily basis because he's put this country in so much danger by horrible, horrible decisions. And
isn't she in Ireland?
Ridiculously
immoral.
Stay in Ireland.
That he just
oh, she's staying there.
Stay in Ireland, you
as
pig.
Republicans cheered.
I gotta say,
as a result, and they've started already.
Crying out loud.
How ignorant is that, though?
I mean, Michael Moore looks bad. I mean, I didn't think he'd look that bad.
She is gay. She went gay after she dated you because.
Oh wait, did I turn her gay? I can't remember.
There's nowhere else to go once you've had Pappas.
No, it's nowhere but down.
When I saw that, and with where it's being politicized, and then you have a washed up actress who essentially moves. I mean, she's like, I'm getting out of here, which I applaud her for it because
one of the few who stood by their word.
Her and Ellen.
Did Ellen
went to
Ellen left too, yeah.
Okay. Ellen went to England with Pappas's other girlfriend. But he turns them all gay, but it's fine. But no, she actually did her shit. She left. But guess what? When you leave, you don't have a right. I mean, you can put whatever you want out there, but nobody's gonna fucking really deal with it.
Do whatever you want.
We played it. I found it just because you didn't send me. You didn't send me a Pappas.
She's still an imbecile because she's still getting her news from all the same sources that she got it from.
There's my favorite word that Dan Carroll uses to describe the left. Imbeciles. Imbecilic behavior. They're just imbeciles. And, as far as I'm concerned, I still am waiting for a Democrat leader on a national scale, hell, even a state scale, to come out and say, guys, stop it. Now, let me say this. I'll say this on the right. You know what? Let's not have this chatter. And I've seen it. I've discounted it. I don't really pay attention to it. I'm not going to have the discussion right now over your theory of weather modification, over cloud seeding, over HARP. I don't want to have those discussions right now because this is an event that happens sadly in that area on a fairly regular basis. There was tropical storm remnants. The weather forecast called for it. The predictors predicted it. The warnings went out. It just was a tragedy given the time of day that it occurred. Simple as that. Tragedies do happen, folks. And I got to tell you this. I have a friend, a guy I went to high school with. He was up to his armpits in water. He has a place in Kerrville. His house was up to his chest in water.
Move that mic away from your mouth a little bit.
Well, he was up to the chest in water. He lost 5. He had his family in town, 7 cars at his house. 5 of the cars were washed away, and the family dog perished. So, I mean, these are called tragedies. It happens, sadly. Life is this is natural. This is what happens sometimes. Let's not politicize everything. And the ones on the left doing it are really being vile. Some people on the right, not necessarily politicizing it, but they're trying to, bring up, cloud seeding and government intervention and the tinfoil hat wearing people. Let's stop that talk, okay? Let's deal with the tragedy. Help these poor families in any way, shape, or form you can. Groups like the United Cajun Navy, help them out if you can, and support these people that are doing good. And get off the frickin' the tinfoil hat theories. And on the left, if you're a Democrat watching this show, I haven't seen our good friend, but if you're a Democrat watching this program,
earlier,
was he? Well, listen, where are people like you? Where are you Democrats? I'm pointing right at you. Where are you to sit there and tell the fellow Democrats that you powwow with, that you support, that you whip up into a frenzy? Where are you telling them to stop this bullshit and just help people instead of trying to turn every damn thing into some sort of political thing against Donald J. Trump? Has nothing to do with Trump. Nothing.
Good for you, Pappas. Fucking right. That's 100% right. And I'm disgusted by it. And if it was Republicans doing it, I'd call them out. So Democrats just won't call each other out.
Amen. Amen.
This would be a good chance for somebody like Crock of Shit, who it's not her area, but it is her area. Central Texas is where she's a congressman. It's not far from her. She should stand up, be a leader, and say, "Hey, cut all this out. Let's rescue these people."
I haven't seen anything from her on this. Have you?
I haven't heard. Yeah,
I find that a little unusual.
Well, there's no narrative for her, Dan.
Boisterous as fuck.
Yeah, there's no platform. There's nothing for her to gain by it. She's an opportunist, and she's an obstructionist. There's nothing for her to obstruct, and there's no opportunities for her. That's why you haven't seen or heard from her. She's not going to be a leader and call for people to get over there and help people and shut their fucking mouth.
Well, we did hear from Swallowswell, and he said that there needs to be an investigation of Trump, obviously, on this. Look, Rahm Emanuel's
investigate these nuts, Swalwell.
Rahm Emanuel was the one who said, "Never let a crisis go to waste."
Correct.
And that has been just one of the things that the loyal Democrats have adhered to ever since those words came out of his mouth back during the Obama era, and they still practice that today. Never let a crisis go to waste. Although I must say, this happened on over the July 4th weekend, and here we are on July the 8th. I think a lot of these arguments are running out of steam because even the Associated Press put out an article talking about how the warnings went out. They were not understaffed. That the Democrats put out the narrative right away as if there was only a skeleton crew at the office and the warnings couldn't go out, and there wasn't anyone there to do their job because Trump cut all the funding for it. Well, even the Associated Press did some actual reporting on that and found out that wasn't true. So I think a lot of these arguments have lost traction rather quickly. And look, this will be in the news cycle for another 3 or 4 days, and then they'll be on to something else.
Correct.
Yeah, but Dan, let me say something else.
Them out on it. The media is not going to call them out on it. They just let the story dies.
Of course,
but nobody ever gets held accountable.
And let me say something else. Silence is complicity. So for all these Democrat leaders that are just shutting their mouths and not saying anything, they're being complicit in this shit because they hear what's going on. They hear it, and that's at every level. That's it. Where is all right, for example, where's the mayor of Cincinnati, a prominent Democrat? Where is he saying, "Hey folks, can we stop this chatter?" And if you can, using his office to maybe drum up support for some of these charitable organizations. Hey folks, you want to help the people in Texas? Look, I'm a nobody. I mean, let's all agree I'm a nobody. But if I can get on my little bitty soapbox and say, if you have the means and you have the ability and you have the wherewithal, can you please find the charity of your choice and help some of these victims, whether it's in North Carolina, whether it's in Texas, whether it's in New Mexico? Can you help these people? I don't hear any of that. Do you? Maybe I'm missing it, but I don't hear any I don't hear any local Democrat leaders calling for not only denouncing this lunacy, but calling for some sort of coming together as Americans and helping fellow Americans. If there's a tragedy somewhere, I don't say, well, let me put my finger in the air. how did that district vote in the last presidential election? I'll decide if I'm going to help them. You know what I do? I go to my room, or I go to first of all, I go to my bank account. I might write a check. I might send a donation. The other thing I do, as I see, is there's something around my house, because I can tell you this: Matthew 25 Ministries, a local place, takes just about everything and they put it to good use.
Yep.
Good.
Absolutely.
And that's where what happens is the Democrats, they don't want to be the next what's the big fat guy that's in Pennsylvania, that's the sweatsuit wearing guy, wears shorts to
Fetterman, John Fetterman.
They don't want to be Fetterman because
they hate him now because he's starting to actually.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what keeps some of these Democrats quiet, is because they don't want to be Fetterman. They see what happens when you say something unpopular. There's nothing more vindictive and evil and vile than a Democrat so-called leader, and they eat their own worse than I've ever seen anybody.
Probably true.
So they don't want to be the next Fetterman, so they're just going to shut their fucking mouths, which to me is cowardice, and you shouldn't be a fucking leader.
Which this is you're leading. You guys are leading this exactly the way I want you to. But we're going to play an ad real quick, and then we're going to come back because we've got a couple more topics to cover. But you're leading it right in, James. It's perfect.
Hi, everyone. Dan Carroll here. Time to tell you about a great new sponsor for the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. It's Murphy Engraving. Murphy Engraving is the place to go for your business, industrial, and personal engraving needs. Take a look at the Murphy Engraving page on Facebook, and you're going to see all kinds of unique items that really seem to take on a life of their own because they've been customized with an image, a name, or a logo, and all of it just really beautifully done. The acrylic sports awards that light up are especially creative and very cool. The customized bottles of bourbon, those are my personal favorite. And wait till you see what they can do with items that are made out of wood. The next time you want to recognize someone special, or you're looking for that one-of-a-kind gift, you'll be glad you checked out Murphy Engraving. And a bonus, you're supporting a local family-owned business run by brothers Brian and Kevin, who is a lifetime firefighter and Air Force vet. At Murphy Engraving, they turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, and at Murphy Engraving, we are American-made.
American.
There you go, American-made, Murphy Engraving.
You rolled it perfectly in because I want your guys' opinion on this story.
Oh God.
Oh man, it's the whole show.
we could go another hour. I'm unsupervised, by the way. Jill's in Disney, and I don't go back to work until next Tuesday. So we could go for a couple days if you guys want to.
Well, I think, and Andrew, I'll be interested to see if you agree with me on this. I think Elon is going to quickly come to the realization that, he's literally the guy with all the money in the world, but it takes a lot more than just being able to write checks and have a lot of money to spend to create a political party. I think he's going to find plenty of takers for the money that he is willing to offer up. But I think in the long run, he's going to find out that, that is what drives most of the people who are going to be the candidates for, under the banner of the American Party, that these are people who are largely driven for their own financial gain. And when it comes to politics, I think the kind of meaningful politics that Elon Musk wants to engage in, I don't think he's going to find a lot of fellow travelers. He'll find plenty of people willing to take whatever money he's going to offer up. But I think in the long run, when it comes to doing something profound or really having an impact, that I think that this idea is going to wind up coming up short.
I got two words for Elon Musk, who I respect greatly, and I think he's a genius. Dan, you might remember. James, I'm sure you remember. Jason, I'm not sure if you will. I'm sure you probably do, though. Ross Perot.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's exactly. As soon as I saw that, Andrew, that's exactly what I thought. And then it immediately took me to Dana Carvey from Saturday Night Live.
Here's the difference. Elon Musk has a lot more money maybe than Ross Perot did at the time. But at the end of the day, this is going to be, Dan nailed it pretty well. He's going to discover this is a useless, it's just a waste of time. He would be more, what's the word? More effective if he could channel this into supporting candidates on the Republican side, because like it or not, I mean, just for better or for worse, and trust me, I used to kind of be open to this whole, we need a third party or another party, blah, 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 until I got involved in politics.
You were a Tea Party guy.
I was a Tea Party guy, and we used to sit around and have tea. But at the end of the day, you quickly realize the way the system is set up and the way it is organized, there's two political parties in this country. There will always be two political parties in this country. If you fool yourself, your wishes don't make reality so. So you could wish for something different, but at the end of the day, you're better served and you're much more effective if you work within those parameters. If you don't like the Republican Party, change the Republican Party. If you don't like the Democrat Party, change the Democrat Party. You want to waste your time? Go start another party, and you're going to just be irrelevant and on the outside looking in. So I don't dislike Elon Musk. I like a lot of what he does. I also think Elon Musk is driven by, he's a very smart man. He knows, and I agree with him on this. I think our biggest threat to this country, to our republic, is the debt and deficit and our fiscal house. No one's really addressing that because it's the third rail in politics. You're not going to really have fundamental reforms that are going to address our debt and deficit. Hell, Dan, like we talked about on the other show, we can't even talk about going back to pre-pandemic spending levels.
Mm-hmm.
We're post-pandemic spending levels, and then they act like it's a cut. Well, I'm sorry, we're spending. COVID's gone, folks. I mean, there's not a pandemic anymore. Why are we at these spending levels? And I think Musk is just sick and frustrated. He has two choices. He could try to reform candidates within the Republican Party that agree with his platform, that agree with his priorities, and are going to try to address this and get them elected. Or he can just focus on his businesses and get out of politics entirely, make as much money as possible, and go to Mars and start over again.
Go to Mars and start over. I like it. Start a new civilization.
So,
I think I don't understand like where he's at, but I almost I have a conspiracy theory in my own mind in the fact that him and Trump teamed up. He started they did Doge. He got out, and I think this is all a fucking ploy to try. I think it's a funny ploy to try to get people against Trump, and they have this fucking Apollo Creed, Rocky Balboa type thing going against each other, just to try to fucking drum up some drama, just to drum up drama for bullshit. Because I agree with you, he is one of the most intelligent men in the world. The things that he has accomplished, amazing. I can't see him working with the Trump administration for that long. Was it 3 or 4 months, 5 months, where he was actually able to start working, and the cuts that they made, and then all of a sudden, now I hate him. I hate that guy.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. That part doesn't compute with me. So I almost kind of think it's a fucking ploy of just trying to keep things unsettled enough to where you're just, all right, we're watching it, and then you get the Dems oh yeah, Elon hates Trump now. Holy shit! I don't know. I don't know what the angle is. I think there's an angle though.
You think there's an angle?
I think there's an angle somewhere, because you just don't go from bringing your fucking piece of shit kid into the fucking Oval Office and sitting there holding him, and you've worked alongside that president, and then all of a sudden now that guy's a fucking moron.
I think a lot of that stems from he's frustrated that the cuts and everything that Doge proposed and wanted to initiate sadly, because of politics being what it is and having to get the bill through the House and the Senate, a lot of those savings, a lot of those proposed cuts were stripped from the bills to get support of individual congressmen. And I think and that's the disconnect between Musk not being a politician and not understanding that, you know, when you make bologna, there's a lot of parts you don't want to know that's in there. So
I thought it was sausage.
Hot dog.
That too.
Hot dogs.
Dan, I heard you're a big sausage fan. Is that correct?
Delzati, baby. The hot Delzati sausage.
I just saw in the bathroom no one likes sausage like Dan Carroll. So I thought, oh, what did you just say?
So I will agree with y'all that that Elon Musk is a brilliant man. But where I'm gonna be a little different is he's brilliant at what he's brilliant at. His aptitude, his expertise. There's some areas that to me, he's a fucking moron. He's a moron in how the system and how things work. Yeah. And he just doesn't get that people really don't give a fuck about what he thinks. Most people really don't.
Well, I think he's a guy that is has been used to that if he sees something going on, he does, especially when within his own sphere of influence. He sees something going on that he wants to change. All he's got to do is write a memo, tell his right-hand man, tell the secretary, from now on, we're going to start doing it this way. And guess what? It happens.
He got his
in politics. I think this is how his frustration is manifesting itself by, wanting to create this third political party. And I don't necessarily, and again, I think, he thinks, I've got the money, I can do this. But I think he may initially get a fair amount of support, but I don't think that, the old saying is it's, 10 miles wide, but an inch deep. And I think that's what he's going to find.
Are you talking about my ex-wife?
No, no, but I think when as far as being able to do something meaningful along those lines, I think Andrew's got a good point that you need to work within the parameters of what's already established and make your change that way. Where we are right now, starting a third political party, even with all the social media and everything else that can happen, I just don't see it gaining traction.
The deck is just too stacked against you.
Well,
I'm just going to tell you,
we are on this day of the Lord, the 8th day of July, 2025, and I never thought that I would actually speak these words. But I do have to agree with Cincy 513 in his comment that I have on the page.
What's that? No. I mean, here's the deal.
A relationship between hold on. Two narcissistic douchebags coming to its naturally predictable ending. Douchebags I'll pull out, but two narcissists I'll absolutely agree with.
No question. But here's the deal. The reason I discount 513, I saw you had a comment earlier that he was disparaging one of my fellow trustee at the time, Josh Girth, saying, "What's he doing about the people in Texas?" And I just went on Josh's page and I just saw that Josh Girth publicly called for people to go donate to Matthew 25 Ministries to help people in Texas. So my fact of the matter is, when I see an asshole like Cincy 513 spewing his fucking asshole bullshit on there, when he doesn't know the facts, when he doesn't have the information, and he's just nothing more than a partisan shill who has never done anything, will probably never do anything, hasn't amounted to a sack of shit, I will tell him to go get a very tall ladder, climb to the top of that ladder, and proceed to kiss my ass because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
That a boy. Yes.
See, I'm with Pappas.
That's all I needed. I just needed one little thing to get fucking.
You got me pissed off now.
I can't top that.
Have a nice time. Thank you.
I really can't.
Nice. You played perfectly.
Kiss your rosy red rectum.
Well, I'm going to agree with the last part of that. It was predictable. There was no way those two guys were going to coexist for long.
Yeah, it wasn't harmony.
I think some good come out of this, and I think they're both acting like children, and they just need to fucking stop.
There you go.
Mainly Elon.
Gotta
Elon.
admit, though, it was fun while it lasted, though, wasn't
No,
it?
it was. I think some good things came
It
out
was
of it. I do. You know.
Hey James, let everybody know, because obviously we're video and audio as well. But where can they find you and follow your show?
At the James McGee Show when you play podcast networks, but Facebook at the James McGee Show, YouTube. I'm mainly on Spotify, but man, please give me a follow, and I'm on TikTok now. I don't know for how long, because I did a video today about Epstein, and it wasn't even that fucking bad, and I got a warning that they're about to ban my account. I'm on my last strike. It wasn't even that fucking bad. I've said a lot
That's how you know
worse.
you've arrived, sir. That's how you know you have
Yeah.
arrived.
So definitely catch me on TikTok while you can, because I do say some crazy ass shit on TikTok.
Yeah, please follow his TikTok, James McGee. It is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I giggle every time I see something. I was like, oh shit, there he is.
Yeah.
But
Jason, thanks for putting the show together today. I appreciate you working around the remote access.
Absolutely. And you know what, Andrew, your sound sounds amazing. Just want you to know.
Well, I thought and the video's better than the sound.
Gaming.
So there you go.
That's a lot, really impressive.
When
are you coming?
When are you coming
Oh,
back?
yeah, you play Call of Duty with those things on, don't you?
It's been a while.
When do you come back?
I'll be headed back tomorrow. I'll be breathing Cincinnati air tomorrow the same time. So I'll see you gentlemen the next day.
Friday's our next show.
I'm good Friday. We'll be there in the studio. Clear the chair next to me off. Tell Dan to be thinner, and we'll definitely see you. James, you take care of yourself, brother.
Good seeing you, Pappas.
Seeing you, James.
You too,
Thanks
brother.
for being here, man.
Make sure
having
everybody follows James McGee and the James McGee Show. He's had us on a bunch, and obviously he's more than welcome to come on here anytime he wants. But we love you guys. Remember, like, subscribe, leave a rating and review, and we'll catch you on Friday, guys. See ya.
See ya. Out.